Hey guys, my name is Ray, and today's the day we're going to talk about the three eyes that Arya Stark will shut forever.
I see a darkness in you. And in that darkness, eyes staring back at me. Brown eyes, blue eyes, green eyes. Eyes you'll shut forever.
Now, Arya Stark is one of those characters that might not just have the happiest of endings. I mean, why would she? Her whole story is a story of pain and suffering, loss. But now it's kind of changed into a story of revenge, vengeance, anger, and hatred. I mean, look at her and Sansa in season 7. Even though I don't like Sansa that much, I haven't liked the way she's gone all these past couple of seasons. I have to admit that Arya last season was a bit bonkers. Yeah, just a bit. And when you look at Arya's list, she said it herself, right? Most of the people on the list are dead. And we have to see how seriously she's taking this list. And while many of us assume that she may have taken the Hound off this list, we haven't really seen her find out that the Hound is alive and how set is she in seeing this list through. Arya and the Starks will be in a very, very familiar position, right? They're going to be working with those who they believe are their enemies, or at least were their enemies. And this kind of has happened in the past, except it was kind of around, right? They were working with friends who turned out to be their enemies, or their allies who turned out to be their enemies. And Arya has used this as fuel to motivate her to better herself and to get vengeance for those who were wronged in her family, right? We see that the Freys and the Boltons betrayed the Starks when they were working with Robb. We also see that the Lannisters killed her father. So there are multiple examples of where the Starks show good faith and work with these people, and then they are ultimately betrayed or done in or killed because of their good faith and good morals. I believe that Arya will be harboring this in season 8 because it is the last season. This is basically the culmination of all the things that Arya has gone through. This will show us what and who she has become. When the execution of Ned Stark at the Sept of Baelor, she was just a little kid. She was a child, and she was really unable to do anything. But she knew that she couldn't do anything, and that's why she felt so hopeless. Later on at the Red Wedding, she was even closer. Her brother was in a position of power. He was like, so close but yet so far. Her mother and all of them, and she had learned how cruel the world was, but she was still unable to apply anything to save them. Now, she could change everything. Now she sees something, she's an actual player, just like Sansa. Sansa before was a little girl. Now she's an actual player in the whole Game of Thrones, and in this story, she actually wields power. The same as with Arya. The only thing is that Arya could actually apply this power now, and she's going to be surrounded by people who are promised to help her and her family and their cause. But yet, is Arya mature enough to trust them? Because if she sees any sliver of treachery or anything suspect, Arya, hands down, will deal with it. It should be interesting to see how she approaches the other houses and the people working with them. Because even you look at her in season 7, she really didn't like the way that the Northerners were talking about Jon. So it will be interesting to see how she receives a Jaime Lannister, a Tyrion Lannister, a Daenerys Targaryen, etc. And I know that I always get these snarky comments in the comment section. Oh my god, this has nothing to do with the three eyes that she's going to shut forever. Like, why do you keep recapping everything? I bring this up because you have to kind of go into Arya Stark's mind, right? You have to look at it from her perspective, and you have to kind of understand. Tyrion even says this to Daenerys, right? You have to think like your enemy to understand them. And not that Arya is our enemy, but we do have to try to understand her and her point of view and her trauma and all of the things that she's been through that have made her who she is. So in season 8 will be the third time basically that the Starks will be working and collaborating with people outside of their family. Only that, the saying, the third time's the charm. And I believe that Arya will be very hesitant to embrace this alliance between them and, let's say, the Southerners and Daenerys and them. So this might lead everything to a very, very dark path for Arya, right? Because in the books, it is hinted that Arya is kind of like a bringer of death. Now, in the books, while Arya is with the Brotherhood without banners, they go to see a woods witch, the Ghost of High Heart, that sees future events and accurately predicts them, you know, future things that are upcoming. But her interaction with Arya, like what happens with her and Arya, kind of sticks out a bit. One, because I think that Melisandre stands in for the Ghost of High Heart in the show. And that scene that we see with Melisandre and Arya never happens in the books. So that means that the information that we get from the Ghost of High Heart and the information that we get from Melisandre could basically be foreshadowing the same event. Number two is what that Ghost of High Heart actually tells Arya. I see you, wolf child, blood child. I thought it was the Lord who smelled of death. You are cruel to come to my hill, cruel. I gorged on my grief at Summerhall. I need none of yours. Be gone from here. Dark heart, be gone. Now that's what the Ghost of High Heart tells Arya Stark. And when I started to put these two events together, I kind of start getting a feel for how they might pay this off in the TV show. It might be something a little bit more canon than meets the eye initially. Now we know that Mel says that she sees 3 sets of eyes and she gives them each a color that Arya will shut forever. Now Mel says that she sees 3 sets of colored eyes staring back at her, and they are brown, blue, and green. And specifically in that order. Now, the order is important because Mel, I believe, is key to figuring out who these 3 people are. But when you really look at Arya's list from the very beginning, there are so many people on that list with different colored eyes that it realistically doesn't fit just 3. So to me, that has always been a bit of like, this might mean something else. But when you break it down, the eyes are in Arya, meaning that they may be part of her or in her mind, right? She probably thinks of them, and Mel sees them in her, like in her mind, right? The most interesting part to me is that they are looking back at Mel, meaning that those people in Arya's mind or on her mind will see Mel at some point after this scene. Or that's the way I think you could interpret it. And who has Melisandre already met? Arya's family, in the exact same order that she mentions them. We see that Jon Snow has brown eyes. We see that Sansa Stark has blue eyes. We see that Bran Stark has brownish eyes. No, wait. This kind of stumped me until I remember that even though Bran has brown eyes, he is a green seer. And green is the other color that Melisandre mentions. Now, he does have his brown eyes, but I mean, again, eyes are to see, right? Yes, he does see with his little brown eyes, whatever, when he's Brandon Stark, but he has green sight. So I believe that this perfectly fits the 3 eyes that Arya will shut forever. And even though that Melisandre has yet to meet Brandon Stark, I do believe that that will be something endgame, because we do know in the books Mel does see Bran, and she sees Bloodraven, and she, you know, addresses them as servants of the Great Other. So they are basically on opposite ends of this all, and I have been saying for a while that Bran I do think is a villain. So it should be extremely interesting to see, you know, where they take it and how Arya is going to fit into this. And again, I really and truly believe that Arya will have probably the most bitter ending of them all, because previously I even thought she might die, because I don't see Arya readapting to normal life at Winterfell or with her family. So I just feel that she will have a very sad ending, and it's been foreshadowed in the past. Remember, everybody was bringing up the whole West of Westeros thing, and I know that a lot of people are hopeful for that, but I want to know what you guys think she will do in her endgame. Because yes, I do believe that these are the 3 eyes Arya will shut, but I will tell you guys how and why I think that these 3 eyes will be shut in an upcoming video. So if you guys aren't, remember to subscribe and stay tuned for that. I will have that video out ASAP. Is that, you know, I just didn't want to throw so much in on my first video back. But if you guys like the video, remember to drop a like. I want to hear what your thoughts down in the comment section down below, because it is an interesting topic. This is something that I have thought about, like maybe for like the past year. I had it on my mind even before the previous season, but I just wanted to, you know, take my time to kind of, you know, lay everything out, because I will be doing multiple videos on this topic. Remember, drop a like, subscribe. I will be having videos out every week. I have more time on my hands, and thank you guys for all the support again. You guys are awesome. As always, it's a true pleasure. My name is Ray, and peace.